Then, on Thursday, September 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Big Brother 27 will air another 2-hour episode, which will include the BB Blockbuster and the live eviction. What the houseguests don't yet know is that it will also be a double eviction night, so another houseguest will be sent to the jury after the first live eviction. So far, the first 2 jury members are Rachel and Will. There will be a total of 7 jury members who'll decide the winner on finale night. Although it's always difficult to wait for the next Big Brother 27 episode, these will be 2 action-packed episodes that viewers won't want to miss. At the end of Thursday night's episode, the final 5 contestants will be determined, and they'll battle it out until the September 28th finale, when one of them will win the $750,000 grand prize. The remaining houseguests are so close to the end of game, but the mastermind won't make it easy for them. Big Brother 27 is winding down, but the excitement is still at an all-time high. Big Brother 27 foot recap: was Ashley, Keanu, or Will evicted live? The evicted houseguest joins Rachel Reilly in the jury house as the second juror. Heading into the Week 9 eviction episode of Big Brother 27, Morgan Pope had just used the veto to remove herself from the block, providing second-time head of household Lauren Domingue with the perfect opportunity to execute her plan of nominating Keanu Soto as the replacement via the back door. Lauren won her spot as the decision-maker during the controversial White Locust elimination twist immediately following the Week 8 eviction. In a hamster wheel maze competition, self-proclaimed BB Queen Rachel Reilly failed to complete the task in the time allotted, sending her straight to jury. 2 of her closest allies, Ashley Hollis and Will Williams, are now on the block next to Keanu, and one of the 3 will join Rachel in the jury house read-on for our recap of Big Brother Season 27, Episode 31, which aired Thursday, September 11th on CBS. This season's theme is the Summer of Mystery, and the house has been transformed into the Hotel Mystère, where secrets lurk behind every corner. The players still in the running to win the $750,000 grand prize are: we begin where Wednesday's veto episode left off, with Morgan safe for the remainder of the week and Keanu reeling from Lauren's unexpected backdoor attempt. In Week 8, Keanu was HOH and did not nominate Lauren for eviction despite many houseguests urging him to. He was hoping to cash in on that fact this week, but Lauren didn't reciprocate the same kindness. Now, Keanu is relying on a blockbuster win to save his game. Ashley sits next to him on the block now for the second time in a row, while Will is vulnerable to eviction again for the first time since Week 3. So, who will be going home tonight? #ButFirst Vince in the middle. After prioritizing Lauren over Morgan during the White Locust twist this week, Vince was caught in the middle between the 2 players he promised to go to the end of the game with. Because Lauren is HOH, Vince spent a lot of time with her this week, influencing her decision-making as much as he could. In recent weeks, Vince and Morgan have gotten increasingly close on a personal level, feeding the betrayal Morgan felt by Vince's actions this week. Feeling alienated from Vince, Morgan told him that the time he's spending with Lauren is extremely hurtful because Lauren is so fiercely targeting her, and as Morgan's friend he should be doing more to protect her. Morgan was noticing that Vince was playing in the middle between the 2 of them and needed to see going forward that his words match his actions when it comes to being committed to their pact in the game. For the players voting in the eviction this week, the consensus was that if Keanu remains on the block after the BB Blockbuster, that he'd be the one to go. Their conundrum would come only if Keanu saves himself, leaving Ashley and Will as the only 2 options. Keanu remaining in the house was Lauren's worst nightmare because he made it clear to her that putting him at risk this week leaves him no option but to go after her, Vince and Morgan next week. Despite Will and Ashley being strong allies and friends in the game, both understood the likelihood that Keanu would win the blockbuster and they'd be pitted against each other. Ashley pitched for Keanu's vote by bonding over their shared loss of Rachel and the fact that Will can easily skate through to the end of the game as someone that will never be voted out. Ashley was interested in working with Keanu in future weeks because he'd replace Rachel as the perfect shield to ever sit next to on eviction night. No, not back into the game, but into the studio to sit down with Julie Chen Moonves for her official elimination interview. In their chat, Rachel admitted that had she approached Ava differently, Then she may have been able to influence Ava's decision to choose her over Vince for the first hamster wheel competitively, and she also acknowledged that she hoped the relationship they built over the course of the season would have meant more to Ava in that moment. Rachel accepted responsibility for stepping up to compete in the wheel in the first place and says that she saw her big brother history flash before her eyes in that moment and she panicked. For this week's final chance at safety, Will, Keanu and Ashley competed in Key to Safety, a race to untangle themselves from a luggage cart woven through with the rope they're attached to. Despite his leg injury, Will was present to compete, and despite his larger stature, Keanu seemed to be moving quicker than either of his competitors. As predicted by the houseguests throughout the week, Keanu came out on top in the comp and won his safety from the vote, and the moments after Keanu's win was announced to the voting houseguests, there was no whispering to strategize about the vote and instead just quick hugs around the room. A tearful Ashley had nothing negative to say about anyone, especially not her best friend in the house that she was sitting next to. Will also had a tough time speaking because of the emotional weight of the situation, admitting that if he leaves the house it must be because he's lovable. In the live vote, Keanu, Morgan and Vince voted as the majority to evict Will. Ava and Kelly voted in the minority to evict Ashley. No one seemed more torn up by the result than Ava, but all the houseguests gave their love and hugs to Will on his way out of the house. During his exit interview with Julie, Will said they woke up on the day of the eviction to learn that people decided he was too likable to leave in the game because he'd be dangerous to sit next to in the end. He reiterated that the houseguests are crazy kids, but he thinks he was put on this season to mentor them and believes he leaves the game a better man. He doesn't feel betrayed by anyone because both Morgan and Vince approached him with their decision and he has no hard feelings against any of them. In his very final thought he said that he hopes Ava wins, but sees Vince probably winning because he can convince anyone of anything. Big Brother 27's Cliffton Williams says Morgan and Vince play the game too hard. Exclusive. The college sports podcaster also talks about the loneliness he felt as the oldest houseguest of the season, saying he never overcame the generation gap. Big Brother's house is open once more. Every week, Parade's Mike Bloom will be bringing you interviews with this season's houseguests as they get evicted from the game. Clifton Williams entered BB boot camp 9 weeks ago with 22 years of experience in the Army, ready to become the captain of a winning game. But quickly into basic training, he stumbled. The oldest houseguest this season, Will struggled to connect early on with some of the younger people in the house. His decision not to vote in the majority in week 1 due to his Burger Boys alliance nearly squashed his game like a patty on a flat top. He became an easy pawn to throw up, as he was tossed on the block for the next 2 weeks. Despite being in the line of fire early on, the DVR lover was able to press pause on his possible eviction. Will overcame his earlier social disconnect, making close bonds with people like Ava Pearl, Ashley Hollis, Mickey Lee, and Rachel Reilly. That not only protected Will on eviction night, it also meant, once his allies started winning power, that he would avoid becoming the block star this season. Will's social game eventually translated to strategic success when he was brought in on the Judges' Alliance. And while everyone in the court had their reservations about Justice Vince Pinaro, including Vince himself, when the jury phase kicked off, it seemed like the fivesome would get a winning verdict in just a few weeks' time. Enter the White Locust. The mastermind returned to introduce definitively the most controversial twist in Big Brother's 25-year history, which sent somebody packing in a matter of hours, not by eviction, but elimination. As Will sat back, aiming to not make himself vulnerable, he could only watch as Rachel shockingly couldn't finish the competition, sending her out without ever being voted for or even nominated. To add insult to an upcoming injury, Lauren Domingue immediately became Ho. Even before he officially hit the block for a third time, Will knew the inevitable: it was not looking good for the judges. Will was not able to compete for Ho, and lost the incredibly physical BB Comics veto to Morgan Pope. Even still, he felt fairly confident most of the week. Lauren used Morgan's win to backdoor Keanu Soto, who would surely go home if he lost the Blockbuster. And even if Keanu got yet another clutch win, he felt his relationships and likability would keep him in the game over Ashley. Unfortunately, With Will pursuing his usual strategy of nodding along and not pushing, it met its match in the work Ashley was putting in. She and Morgan spent the past few days to flip over Keanu and Vince, respectively, feeling she was a bigger shield for their games than him. And so, with the house in tears, they chose to drop the husband of Chocolate Drop. In this case, where there was a will, there was not a way to win. Now in the jury house, Will talks with Parade about whether he felt he could have done anything to avoid his fate, his thoughts on the White Locust twist, and whether he felt he could overcome his generation gap. Big Brother Season 27 Backlash. White Locust twist shocks with eviction and reveals first member of jury. CBS aired the reality competition series on Tuesday night, something host Julie Chin Moonves had teased on last Thursday's eviction episode. Following the eviction of Mickey Lee, who became the 8th housemate evicted from the house, the remaining houseguests would all at least make it to jury house. Those who make up the jury determine the winner of